Make it out the way.
Okay, we're good. We're good. Go ahead.
And
Yes.
Good morning, Ferri Middle School. Today is day A. The order of the periods is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence.
Please be seated. And now to today's history and sports.
Here's a look at this day in history. October 21st.
In 1797, the U.S. Navy launched the frigate Constitution, fondly known as Old Ironsides, in Boston Harbor. On this day in 1879, Thomas Edison invented the first workable electric light at his lab in Menlo Park, New Jersey. This day in 1988, former Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos and his wife Imelda were indicted on fraud and racketeering charges in New York. Marcos died before trial, and Imelda was acquitted in 1990. And on this day in 1959, the Guggenheim Museum opened in New York City. Solomon R. Guggenheim had been showcasing his modern art in an auto showroom. Try a steering wheel. Architect Frank Lloyd Wright set out to design a true museum for the collection. His radical spiral structure sent the art world spinning. And that's this day in history.
And for more on Patriots and Jets, we bring in Andy Gresh. All right, we've been talking about this game seemingly forever. It's got like that Super Bowl deal where you run out of things to talk about. But game day is tomorrow. The more you look at this, and Rex Burkhead was declared out today, are the Pats going to have enough weapons to put up a lot of points tomorrow?
That's a great question. I think
Hi, I'm Alicia Fortunati.
And I'm Selena Santinelli.
And you're watching Ferri Live. The weather today is mostly cloudy. The high temp is 63 degrees with a low of 44 degrees. The wind speed is 10 miles per hour. The wind direction is south-southwest, and the humidity today is 9%. Today's lunch is scheduled as the following. First lunch is 8 white. Second lunch is 7 blue and 7 white. Third lunch is 6 blue and 6 white. And fourth lunch is 8 blue. Today's lunch special is chicken fajitas, brown rice, seasoned black beans, Mexican corn, and fresh fruit and veggie bar.
Delicious.
I know. Today's quote of the day is by Unknown. When you start seeing your worth, you'll find it harder to stay around people who don't. We are asking for every student to please give your clean styrofoam trays to the member of the green team every lunch. Yes, every lunch. If it is clean, please keep it clean and do the right thing. Your Earth thanks you. These items were found throughout the building. If they are yours, please claim them in the library as soon as possible. And now to Selena.
Thank you, Alicia. Okay. Today's joke of the day is, what's a man called when he has no body and no nose?
What?
Nobody knows. Today's fun fact is you're more likely to remember an image if it's in color rather than if it's in black and white.
Interesting.
Attention all students. The passes for room 229 and 215 are missing. If you find them, please bring them back to room 229 or 215. I repeat, the passes for room 229 and 215 are missing. If you find them, please bring it back to room 229 and 215. Thank you. Do you have a joke? Well, if you do, please bring it down to the library and put it in this bin, blue bin. Your joke must be on a piece of paper. Thank you. Ferri, forever educating respectful, responsible individuals.
That's all for today. I'm Alicia Fortunati.
And I'm Selena Santinelli. We'll have more news for you next time.
Until then, have a magical Monday.
Mondays are necessary. Doesn't have quite the same ring as Friday's awesome, but we hope your week's off to a good start, and we thank you for spending 10 minutes of your Monday with CNN 10. I'm Carl Azus at the CNN Center. First story takes us to North Korea. There's a lot that happens here that's unknown to the outside world. North Korea is a secretive country that threatens people who expose those secrets, and it doesn't allow independent media organizations to exist. The government controls the radio and TV stations that are allowed, and it's illegal for North Koreans to listen to broadcasts made from other countries. So in a nutshell, if the dictatorship doesn't want certain information getting out, it makes it difficult and dangerous for North Koreans to find it out. And as far as foreign journalists are concerned, North Korea limits who's allowed in, where they're allowed to go, and what they're allowed to cover. That's why international observers are confused by something noticed recently at some high-rise buildings in North Korea's capital. The views, which once overlooked the rooftops of government buildings, are now blocked, obstructed, or blurred by new coverings. According to the New York Times, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has built up a number of high-rise apartments, and the people allowed to live there are elite members of society. But the top floors of these apartments are where these coverings have appeared. nknews.org and the Daily NK, two websites outside North Korea that focus on news inside the country, say the coverings block the views of North Korea's forbidden city to tourists and citizens, and also prevent pictures of government buildings from being taken and sent outside North Korea.
Chad O'Carroll, correspondent for the South Korea-based news website NK News, was recently checking a lead on a construction project in the North Korean capital when his sources noticed something strange. Near an important section of Pyongyang, O'Carroll's sources saw many upper floor windows in some luxurious high-rise apartment buildings mysteriously covered. And at great risk, they started to take pictures.
These window bars are made of concrete, they're immovable, and they are basically either fully opaque or they are on kind of slats that just allow you to look in one way.
Look at O'Carroll's comparison for NK News of a tower block in the Changchun apartment complex. About a year ago, and now. O'Carroll says his sources observed what they believe are hundreds of apartments and hotel rooms with windows covered, and in some cases, only on upper floors. Windows at the Corio Hotel, a famous destination for tourists, were replaced with translucent covers, so guests can't make out detail of anything outside.
And the overarching goal of all of these is, as far as we understand, to prevent people being able to look into what's known as North Korea's Forbidden City.
The Forbidden City, analysts say, is a nickname for a section of Pyongyang where important government buildings are located, the headquarters of the Korean Workers' Party, and other offices where Kim and the elites from his inner circle conduct business. The position and height of many of these now blocked windows, analysts say, seems to be fueling the regime's paranoia.
If you were an assassin, you'd probably love to be someplace higher up. If you wanted to try and eavesdrop, if you wanted to observe who was coming in and who was going, if you wanted to try and establish somebody's schedule, these would all be apartments that would give you a great view of who was in which office.
But by closing off these windows in what's known as Pyonghattan, Kim's regime is also likely taking away the views of some people who are very powerful. Top North Korean officials who've been given those exclusive apartments. Those elites who analysts say the dictator bribes with luxury goods and cash to keep him in power.
When you get to the stage that you're blocking the view of your apparently trusted elite families in North Korea, I think it's something that is potentially going to breed some discontent.
Others say those who've been elevated to power by the supreme leader likely understand this is something they may just have to swallow.
This is a regime that maintains its authority through open execution with mortar rounds and anti-aircraft cannon. Compared to that, having your nice window barricaded is not exactly something worth dying for.
More delay and more questions in the process of Brexit, the British exit from the European Union. Britain is scheduled to leave the EU on October 31st, and an agreement between the country and the EU on exactly how to do that would make things smoother and more organized. The government of Prime Minister Boris Johnson did recently make a deal with the EU, but Britain's parliament has to approve it first. And in a vote held Saturday, when lawmakers were expected to either approve or reject the deal, they delayed making a decision on it, and they passed a law requiring the Prime Minister to ask the EU for another delay in the Brexit process. The European Union could accept or reject that request. Britain's parliament could still pass the Prime Minister's deal with the EU. So bottom line, it's still uncertain what'll happen next when it comes to the Brexit. 10-second trivia. Who conducted the first spacewalk, which took place in 1965? Yuri Gagarin, Alan Shepard, Alexei Leonov, or Ed White? Well, Ed White was the first American to do it. The first ever spacewalk was made by Soviet cosmonaut Alexei Leonov. His spacewalk attempt was kept secret until it happened. Leonov later told the Smithsonian that when his 4-year-old daughter saw him making the spacewalk on TV, she cried, "Please tell Daddy to get back inside." He and his crewmate faced a series of life-threatening challenges afterward before they made it home. So it's risky. And on Friday, Americans Christina Cook and Jessica Meir also stepped out for a walk about 248 miles above the Earth's surface. And they also made history in the process.
NASA astronauts Christina Cook and Jessica Meir nailing the first all-female spacewalk. The women working outside the International Space Station, replacing a broken battery charger. NASA streamed the event live. The two astronauts seen emerging from the hatch of the space station to start their mundane-sounding work, making history in the process. Identified by their bulky spacesuits, Cook in the red stripes, Meir plain white. A helmet cam giving their POV.
The twist will move towards us so we can get better eyes on it. Okay.
And what you're hearing, them communicating with each other. Watch Meir pass by Cook's dangling feet.
I'm right beneath your feet, so don't move down.
And communicating with NASA HQ back on Earth.
I have to ask, where are we flying over? It's beautiful.
The answer, 400 kilometers up from a spot just south of Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The first all-female spacewalk was supposed to take place back in March, cancelled due to issues getting a couple of spacesuits the right size, says NASA. This was Cook's 6th spacewalk, Mir's first, although they have trained together for the past 6 years. 42-year-old Mir holds a doctorate in marine biology. 40-year-old Cook is an electrical engineer. She's been up there on the International Space Station since March and will be until February, breaking the record for the longest single spaceflight by a woman.
So for us, this is really just us doing our job. It's something we've been training for 6 years and preparing for. And at the same time, we recognize that it is a historic achievement. And we do, of course, want to give credit to all of those that came before us.
Nick Watt, CNN, Atlanta.
There's a new resident at the Paris Zoological Park. See if you can guess what it is. It can grow as fast as 1.5 inches per hour. It has no mouth, but it likes to eat bark and oatmeal. It has no brain, but scientists say it can communicate and solve problems, and it's not an animal, a mushroom, or a plant. Give up? It's a blob, a slime mold. We don't expect it to be the most exciting organism at the zoo, because after all, it's not really a fun guy, and watching it tends to get mold after a while. But when it's excited, it can blob a lot. When it's sad, we bet it blobbers. And we hear it likes movies like The Blob, The Green Slime, and Ghostbusters, though it always roots for Slimer. I'm Carl Azus for CNN 10, and it's just too bad we're all out of slime today.